This video is about the general physics test which I conducted last week. So I will tell you how to solve these questions in this video. So first we have question number 1 from MCQs part A. 5 athletes are there, P, Q, R, S and T. They complete the race. The table shows a finishing time for each athlete. We have to check which statement is correct. So first thing, which athlete won? The athlete which took the shortest time won the race. So as you can see here from these numbers, the smallest time interval is by P. So athlete P is the first, or he won the race. So which athlete? So either A can be answer or B can be answer as from the first statement. Then A or B, option A, it's written and was 0.7 seconds ahead of athlete in the second place. So first you have to find which athlete will finish in the second place. So athlete T will finish in the second place. And when you find the time interval difference between them, like example 23.2 minus 22.5. So what you will find when you solve, you will find it's 0.70. So which is a correct answer? It shows A is a right answer. For question 2, student investigate the motion of a ball rolling down a slope. Which statement describes the motion of the ball? The acceleration is not constant. Acceleration means change in velocity. So what is the acceleration? If I label these position like A, B, C and D. So from A to B, acceleration means the change in velocity. So it's 2.8 minus 0 divided by what is the time interval? It's from 0. It's starting was 0. Now it's 0.2. So it is 0.2 minus 0, which is also 0.2. So it will be 2.8 divided by 0.2. So when 2.8 divided by 0.2, it will give you 14 meter per second square. That is acceleration from A to B. What about from B to C? When we calculate acceleration, change in velocity, so it is 5.1 minus 2.8 divided by time interval, because at B it was 0.2 and at C it is 0.4, so time interval is again 0.2. So it will be 5.1 minus 2.8, and that is divided by 0.2. So you'll get 11.5 meter per second square. So it shows the acceleration is not constant. Why B cannot be an answer? Acceleration is negative. Acceleration negative means decelerating. But you can see here the speed of object is increasing, so it is not decelerating. Speed is decreasing, that's also totally wrong. Speed is increasing continuously. Velocity is constant, the velocity is not constant. You can see that it is continuously changing. So that's why A is a right answer. Which statement about acceleration is correct? Means what is the meaning of acceleration? So what is acceleration? Acceleration, it is related to change in speed of an object. That's true. When the object changes its speed, we say the object is accelerating. That's why. Why not B, C or D? It is a distance an object travel in 1 second. That distance travel in 1 second is known as a speed. It is not acceleration. That's why B is not an answer. It is a force acting on an object divided by distance in 1 second. So force divided by distance in 1 second, it means force divided by speed. So force divided by speed is not acceleration. Force divided by mass is acceleration. And it is a force acting on the object when it is near to the earth. That's related to the gravitational force or the weight of an object, but it is not related to acceleration. So A was a correct answer. Which statement correctly describe the effect of placing a heavy load in a car? When you put a heavy load, means the mass will increase. When the object mass increase means it will have higher inertia. And inertia means property of an object to resist change in state. So if object is moving, it will be difficult to stop because of its inertia. Same as if object is at rest, it will be difficult to and why this is there? Because of a property which we call inertia. Now we have to check which statements are correct. It is easy to accelerate the car and easy to bring the car to rest. That's wrong. It is easy to accelerate the car, but more difficult to bring. It will be easy. It will be difficult to accelerate as well as it will be difficult to move the car. Why? Both things because of its inertia. That's why C is the right answer. So if the mass of any object increases, you find it difficult to stop if it's moving, and you find it difficult to move if it is stationary or at rest. Question 5. A space probe is taken from Earth to Mars. The gravity on the surface of a Mars is less than gravitational force on Earth. What? How do the weight and the mass change? Mass is amount of matter. So if you take an object on the surface of a Mars, or if it is on the moon, it does, the amount of the matter will not change. Or you take it to the surface of Earth. So how much matter is there inside the object? That will be same, but the weight is depending on the gravitational force. So what happened, because the gravity of the mass is less than the gravitational force of the Earth, so that's why the weight will decrease, but the mass will remain unchanged. So B will be the right answer. Water has a density of 1000 kilogram per meter cube. A rectangular swimming pool is there. What is the mass? So how to find this? You have the density, you have the volume, you need the mass of an object. So to get the mass, as we know, density is mass over volume. So mass is equals to density multiplied by volume. What will be the volume of this whole rectangle? Because a rectangular swimming pool is there. So we have its length. So we have the length is there. We have the width, and we have depth also, like how much water is there inside. These parameters are given. Length is 25 meters, width is 10 meter, and the depth is 1.6 meters. So when you multiply these three parameters, you will get the volume, and density multiplied by volume will get the mass of this. So it will be 1000, which is a density, multiply volume directly. So we can substitute these values. So it will be 10 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 1.6. So 10 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 1.6, that is multiplied by 1000. So when you multiply all these factors, you will get 400,000 kilogram is the mass of water which is present in this swimming pool. A satellite orbit the Earth at a constant speed in a circular orbit. So whenever object move in a circular path, there is always a force, and that force is always directed towards the center. Like example, if this is Earth and a satellite is moving around the Earth in a circular path, so if I say what is the direction of the force, the direction of force is always towards the center. Any point you take, the direction of the force, the gravity, here the force of gravity is there, that is responsible for its circular motion, but the direction of the resultant force whenever object move in a curve or a circular path is always towards the center of the circle. So which statement is correct? The resultant force on satellite is 0. The thing is, whenever object move in a circular path, there should be a resultant force which should be directed towards the center. So that's why B is the correct answer. Resultant force is satellite is there, and that is towards the Earth. Question 8. Two forces P and Q act on an object. Which diagram shows the resultant of the two force? How to get the resultant of two force? So we use a simple technique. We use to get the resultant of the two force, we use a, this is called a vector diagram or a scale diagram. So first thing, we'll draw the first vector. Then draw the second vector or second force from the head of first vector, and to find the resultant is from tail of the first to the head of last vector. That will give us the resultant vector. So this is a vector addition rule. So we want to show which one is resultant. So here two vectors are there, P and Q. So if we draw the first vector according to this vector addition rule, this is our first vector, Q. You can take any of them, you will get the same answer. So this is our first vector, which is Q. Draw the second vector from the head of the first vector. So we'll draw the second vector. Our second vector is P. So when I draw the second vector P, now what is the resultant? Resultant is from tail of the first to the head of the last. When we join them, we call that vector as a resultant. So which one is which shows the correct direction of the resultant? When you check A, B, C or D, so you will find C is pointing same as direction of the resultant which we draw. So this is called a vector addition rule. It's the resultant vector is always from tail of the first to the head of the last. An object is moving 3 meters per second, force acting. We need a change in momentum. So change in momentum, it is mv minus mu. So mass is given 5, the final velocity is minus 4, minus in mass is the 5 and the initial velocity is 3. So minus 5 multiplied by minus 4, that's equal to minus 20, and 5 multiplied by 3 is minus 15. So when you multiply them, you will get minus 35 kilogram meter per second. So that's why A is the correct answer. Which energy resource is not a renewable energy resource, means which cannot be replenished over a short period of a time? Geothermal excess is available, solar, wind. So which one cannot replenish over a short period of a time? Nuclear fission. Because this one, renewable energy resource, solar renewable, wind is because of heat of the sun. That's also renewable. The only one which is not a renewable is nuclear fission because it cannot be replenished over a short time. A car of mass 500 is moving at a speed of 10. The engine did a work and increases the speed to 16. How much work is done by the engine to increase the speed? So how much work is done or how much energy consumed? So initially the car was moving. So mass of this car is 500 and it was moving with 10 meter per second. So how much energy the engine was providing to the car so that it can move? We can find kinetic energy, which is half mv square equal to 0.5 multiplied by mass, which is 500, multiplied by speed square, which is 10. So 10 square is 100, multiplied by 500, the mass, and multiplied by 0.5, which is the original kinetic energy which is 25,000 joules. But the car changes the speed. So it is 500 and the speed of the car is 16 meter per second. So kinetic energy equals 0.5 multiplied by 500 multiplied by 16 square. So how much energy was generated by the engine when the car was moving with 16 meter per second? So 16 square multiplied by 500 multiplied by 0.5. So you will get 64,000 joules. So how much extra energy or how much work is done to increase the speed? So change in energy. So 64,000 minus 25,000. So extra energy which is generated is equals to 39,000. The diagram shows a solid block resting on a bench. The dimensions of a block are shown on which label should the block rest to produce a smallest pressure. So to give a smallest pressure, it should have a large area. So you will check which region, which side will have a large area will exert the least pressure. So when you multiply 80 because the surface, this will be 80 multiplied by, this is 40 as well. This one is 20 and this one is 80. So when I find area of P, it will be 80 multiplied by 40. So 8 multiplied by 4, it's 32 and 3200 will be there. This will be 80 multiplied by 20. So 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. So 2 zeros will be there. And what about this one? 2 multiplied by 4, that is equals to 8. And this will be 800. So you can see the area of the P is 3,200 centimeters square. For R, for P it is 3,200. For R it is 1,600 centimeters square, and for Q it is 800 centimeters square. So which one having a large area? P is having the large area, so it will exert the least pressure. An object is 60 centimeter below the liquid. So, and pressure is 9,000 Pascal. What is the density? 60 centimeter. First, it should be in meter. So you will divide by 100, which is equals to 0.6 meter. You have the formula: pressure exerted by the liquid is equals to density into gravity into height. So pressure exerted by the liquid, it's given 9,000. Density is we have to find the gravity is 10 and the depth is 0.6. So 0.6 multiplied by 10, which is equals to 6, and so 9,000 divided by 6. Or you can do 9,000 divided by 10 into 0.6. It's the same thing, no difference. So 9,000 divided by 6, which is equals to 1,500 kilogram per meter cube. That's the final answer. So always remember unit conversion. So this was about part A of test of general physics block 1. About part B, what is the most accurate and precise method to measure the thickness? So you will just simply check the apparatus which is used here. So most precise one, as you can see, micrometer can read about 0.01 millimeter to accuracy. That's why this will be the most precise instrument to measure. On Earth, a ball is dropped and fall in a vacuum. Whenever object drop, they all have a same acceleration at any point. So what will be the expression? Acceleration is due to gravity, which is 10 meter per second square. So means every second, any point when it is falling, it will have the same change in velocity or same acceleration. So that's why it will be 10, because falling objects have constant accelerations. And even they mention it's in a vacuum, so it should be same. A skydiver reaches a terminal velocity. So when he reaches a terminal velocity, the air resistance and weight are balanced. Then he opens his parachute. So what happened to the skydiver as he opens his parachute? Because what happened? Originally, the skydiver, when he's moving at the terminal speed, what does it means? It shows that the weight of the skydiver, example, if I say the weight of the skydiver is 600 newtons, so weight of the skydiver balances with the air resistance. So there is no resultant force. Weight is 600 and air resistance is also 600. So resultant force is 0. But moment he opened the parachute, like this is without parachute, a skydiver is falling. But moment he opens the parachute, so what happened? Because the parachute will have large surface area, so air resistance increases. That case, now the air resistance is more than the weight of an object. Originally direction of the motion is downward. So if its direction of the motion is downward, and what is the direction of the resultant force? 1000 up, 600 down. So direction of resultant force is opposite to direction of the motion. So whenever direction of the resultant force is opposite to direction of the motion, the object will decelerate or object will slow down. So decelerating downward or accelerating upward having a same meaning. Because if I say it is decelerating down, that's, or if it will accelerate up because the upward force is higher. So decelerating down or accelerating up having a same meaning. So what is the resultant acceleration will be there? There is an acceleration upward. Why upward acceleration? Because a downward. So decelerating down or accelerating up having a same meaning. So resultant force is up. That's why it will accelerate up, or you can say because the direction of motion is opposite, so it is decelerating down. The weight decrease, that's totally wrong. There's an increase in speed. Speed will decrease because he start to decelerate. There is movement upward. He will not move upward. He will slow down, but resultant force is upward. Because resultant force is upward, and as we studied, acceleration and resultant force are always in same direction. So if resultant force is upward, the direction of acceleration should also be upward. A piece of steel is taken from Earth to Moon. The gravitational field strength of a moon is smaller. Which statement is correct? So because of whenever weight decrease, as we know, weight is equals to mass into gravity. So if gravitational force is weaker, it means the weight will also decrease. So it's weight less on moon as compared to that on Earth. It has less mass, mass will not change. It has more mass, mass will not change. It will more weight. If the gravitational field strength of a moon is higher, then its weight will be more. But because the gravitational field strength of the moon is weaker, so its weight will decrease. Then a measuring cylinder is there containing water. A small irregular stone is dropped, immersed in water. What is the density of the material? So density is mass over volume. So what is the mass of stone? How we can find? This is the mass of the water. This is the mass of water and stone. So we'll find a difference of 217.5 minus 105. That will give us the mass of this stone. So 217.5 minus 105, which is 11 point, which is 112.5 grams. That's a mass. What about volume? Originally it is 40, then it is between 60 and 70, so it's 65. So volume is equals to the difference, so it will be 65 minus 40, which is equals to 25. Now to get density, mass over volume, so this divided by volume, which is 25, so we will get 4.5, which is C is the right answer. A boat is traveling at a steady speed in a straight line, not in a circular motion. If it is in a circular motion, it means there should be a resultant force toward the center. But if an object is moving in a straight line with a constant speed, if speed is not changing, for example, if it's moving with 30 meter per second. So what does it mean? The force which is driving the boat and force which is resisting the motion should be balanced with each other so that it will continue to move with a constant speed. Otherwise, if there was a resultant force, like if 5 Newton is towards right, there should be 5 Newton towards left. So resultant force should be 0. It will not change its speed. So option D is the right answer here. The resultant force should be 0 because they mentioned steady speed in a straight line. But if it was a circular motion, even though they mentioned steady speed in a circular motion, then there should be a resultant force towards the center. So there should be no resultant force when an object is moving at a constant speed in a straight line. In question 7, a weight of a ball is 1.2 and through the air at terminal velocity. So whenever terminal velocity, the condition for a terminal velocity that weight of an object balanced with the air resistance. So weight is 1.2, what should be the air resistance? That should also be 1.2. Then they mention a sudden gust of a wind exert a horizontal force of 0.5 from the left. So there's another force which is acting from the left on this object. So which diagram is correct? So when you check, so which one it matches with? It matches with C, that there should be these two. There's no resultant force here, and only the force which is responsible its movement. That's a gust of the wind, which is sudden and acting from left to right. So 0.5 Newton resultant force will be there. The diagram shows a uniform bridge 4 meter long and weight 10,000. So if it's a uniform, so its weight will act at the center. And what is the weight? It's 10,000 Newton. This will cause clockwise rotation. Lifting force will cause an anti-clockwise rotation. So we always solve this question. The clockwise moment is equals to anti-clockwise moment. So the clockwise moment is 10,000 and pivot is given. So we always take distance from the pivot. Weight is acting at the center, so the distance of the weight is 2. So force multiplied by the distance, which is 10,000 is a force, multiplied by distance is 2, and force, lifting force is F, and the distance is 4. This would be. We need this F, so it will be 20,000 divided by 4, so which is equals to minimum, the force required to keep it balanced is 5,000. More than 5,000 will cause a turning effect. Then a bullet of mass 0.1 kg travel at a speed of 600 meter per second. So there's a bullet, mass of this bullet is 0.1 kg, and it is moving with a speed of 600 meter per second. Then it hit the block, which was stationary. The mass of the block is 1.9 kilogram, and the block was stationary at rest. That's given in the question. This is before collision. And once they collide with each other, the after collision, they mention the bullets stay in the block. So if the bullets stay in the block, so it means both will move together, or they mean both have the same speeds. So speed of the bullet and the speed of the block is same, because the bullets stay in the block, and the mass of the block, it remains like total mass will be different, but 1.9 is the mass of a block and 0.1 is the mass of the bullet. This is after the collision. So if we apply a conservation of momentum, the total momentum before collision is equals to total momentum is equals to total momentum after collision. This is conservation of, so what is the total momentum? Momentum of the bullet, it's 0.1 multiplied by 600 plus momentum of the block is 1.9 multiplied by 0. Momentum of the bullet after the collision, it's 0.1 and velocity is v, plus momentum of the block after collision, it's 1.9 and velocity is v, because both have the same velocity, they move together. So when you solve 0.1 multiplied by 600, so that's equal to 60. 1.9 multiplied by 0, that's 0. 0.1 v plus 1.9 v, that's equal to 2 v. So it shows that 60 is equals to 2 v. We need v, so it will be 60 divided by 2. So 60 divided by 2, the speed is equals to 30 meter per second. That's why A should be the right answer. Here in this case, a box of mass m slide down. So how much work done and what is the potential energy? Work done is a product of force into distance. So work done against the friction. So we have to take a distance for which it moves because of or opposed by the friction. So the distance which is for which the frictional force is acting is equals to L. So work done will be equal to force multiplied by L, or distance. And potential energy, as we know, it's mgh, mass into gravity into height. So what is the height above the ground? It's d. So the potential energy will be mgd. So potential energy is mdd. Work done against the friction is force multiplied by L. So that's why A should be the right answer. The diagram shows the energy transfer for a device. It's 50% efficient. If 50% efficient, like example, if 100 joule is the input, 50 joule will be useful and 50 joule will be wasted. So what does it mean? It means the useful energy and the wasted energy will be equal. Because if device is 50% efficient, It means it is doing a useful 50% useful work and remaining 50% is lost to the surrounding. So waste energy and useful energy is same for a device which is 50% efficient. A student carry out some simple exercise in which uh, most work is done. So here when we calculate work done is equals to force multiplied by distance. Whenever you are lifting an object, the force is equals to weight of the object. So weight is 10 and the distance which you move is 1. So 10 multiplied by 1, it's 10 joule. Here you're dragging an object, so the force which opposes the motion, that's a friction force. So it is 4 multiplied, the force multiplied by distance, and distance you move 1. So 4 multiplied by 1, that's equal to 4 joules. Again, you lift an object, so work done force multiplied by distance. So force is 20 because whenever you're lifting an object, the force is equals to not the mass, that's the weight of an object. Multiplied by distance, it's 2, which is equals to 40 joules. Here you are applying a force of 2 Newton for to move an object to a distance of 2 meters. So 2 multiplied by 2, that's equal to 4 joules. So whenever you drag, push or pull an object, the force which is opposing a motion, your force should be either equal to or more than that. But when you're lifting an object, your force should be equal to weight of an object or more than that. So which one we did the greatest work done? So option C, greatest work done. 4 containers are there. Diagram shows the depth and density of liquid in each container. Which container the pressure at the base is greatest? So as we know, pressure exerted by the liquid equal to density multiplied by gravity multiplied by depth. So gravity is constant, so means the pressure also depends on the product of density and the depth. So which one gives the highest product for density and depth? So this 3.1 multiplied by 10, this will be 31. 1.2 multiplied by 20, that's equal to 2.24. 1.3 multiplied by 30, that's equal to 39. And zero point 0.8 multiplied by 40, that's equal to 32. So which one is giving the highest product for density and depth? C is giving the highest. That's why C is the correct answer. So these are the questions related to the test which I conduct related to block 1, general physics MCQs. If still you have doubt, you can just mention and I will re-explain that question.